Oklahoma Texas game. Red River rivalry, one of the best in the. All right, so let's go ahead and look into the Big Ten. And the Big Ten, they just need to be called the Big National. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're about to be. And you just look at these schedules of all these blue blood and all these traditional teams for next year that are coming into the fray. The Big Ten's about to be just absolutely epic. I'm just flabbergasted how great both them and the Big 12 are going to be next year. But really, Big Ten is national, dude, because they got teams in every major city in America now coming up next year. And it's just absolutely nuts. But it's crazy when you got to have Rutgers represent the New York market. So, that's almost like a kick. That's just like a smooth kick in the nuts right there. Is being okay. You got New York, but thing is, though, catch this. It has to be Rutgers. All right, so let's go ahead. Big Ten game of the week: Maryland, who will be representing the DMV area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia for their region, and we got Ohio State, who will be the host state of Ohio. Pretty much 20 and a half point spread. This is absolutely ridiculous for an undefeated matchup. Over under 16 and a half. Jeff, I'll let you kick it off. What are your thoughts, and who do you have winning this game?
My true number here on this was 17 and a hook with an under over of 54, now up to 20 with a 57. I know if you go back the last few years when Ohio State has hosted Maryland in this spot, Ohio State's had their way with them, and they've scored an awful, awful lot of points. So it's hard for me to land on the Terps here, even though, again, undefeated, you would say, geez, Jeff, 2-4-0 teams, and you're going to give me 20 and a half. I think Ohio State's going to be able to call their shot. I think they get into the 30s as well. Maybe the back door could be opening. If I'm going to jump into this game, I'm just focusing on what is Ohio State's team total. I think they can get up 35 here without a problem. They did that a couple of weeks ago. They came back home and they got that offense cranked up. And, they got a big part of their schedule coming up soon. They'll be playing Penn State and before you know it, Michigan. So they're not looking past the Terps at all. I think it'll be business as usual for the Buckeyes. And I don't like the number. I think that's an awful lot of points, but I think Ohio State does get it done. And I think you're probably looking at around 33 to 37 points scored on their side, Pops.
All right. Well, Jeff, Ohio State Buckeyes, they're not the same Ohio State Buckeyes that were Urban Meyer's boys, okay? And they're not the same guys Ryan Day inherited, because Ryan Day has taken on a whole different mentality. He's actually flipped it, threw it all the way back to pretty much like the Jim Tressel days, not even John Cooper days, like Jim Tressel days, where you're more of a conservative offense that gets everything in that's handed to you. You're not going to go out there and try to ad-lib anything. You're going to take what the defense gives you pretty much. And what you're doing is you're basing everything around your running game. You're not using your quarterback as the end-all, be-all of everything. The running, the passing, the RPOs, all that's gone now. They're playing straight-up old-school Ohio State football because that's the way that they have to play, because they have to get physical again. This is why they lost to Michigan the last 2 years. And you know what? Ohio State might not be the sexiest team on the planet anymore like they were when they were, a track team out here. But now they've went back to being a good, great football team where every facet of the game has to help them win this football game. You know what I mean? And Maryland comes in here with probably the best offense in the Big Ten. Yeah, I said the best offense in the Big Ten, because when I look at the numbers coming into this game, you got Tua's little brother, who's probably going to be an all-conference quarterback at the end of the year. He has the stats. He has the numbers to back that up. And then you have Hemby, who's probably going to be a first team guy as well too. Running back who's absolutely absurd the way that he plays the game. And then they got four wide receivers that are really, really good. And this really does make things a little difficult for Ohio State coming into this game. But it gives them a good matchup to really figure out exactly who they are at the end of the day. Because we really truly don't know who Ohio State is. And when Ohio State did face adversity, they had to take until the final second to win that game. And so you look at this Maryland game and you say that you cannot overlook Maryland in this spot because Maryland's the type of team that can walk into Columbus and say to themselves, we had a chance last year and wind up beating Ohio State because they played a close one last year, Jeff. And I think that, the mentality with what Maryland has, we almost beat them. And Ohio State with the mentality is they almost beat us. So they're going to have to play. Maryland's already coming in here very confident, but Ohio State's going to have to really dominate early in this game to really send the message that it's going to be a long day in Columbus. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. I don't like the 20.5. I'm taking Maryland here. I know it sounds a little crazy, but I just think that when Ohio State wins, they'll win by 10 or better. You know what I mean? 10 to 14 points, not 20.5. That's just too much. You know what I mean? I think that's just a very disrespectful to Maryland, but this is when the odds makers say, you know what, Maryland, make us believe in you because we don't believe in you because you haven't played anything. But make us believe in you, and then we'll respect it a little bit more come next week. But right now, you're going to Columbus, and we don't respect anything that you're doing when you're going to Columbus because they're heads and shoulders ahead of you. And we just have to see. We have to show and prove. This is a show and prove line right there for both sides, actually, in reality. So we move forward from there.